All right, and we are not live necessarily, but we are recording. So I'm going to hand it over to Rasan first to really ground us, talk more about Citizens Committee and what we do, and him as the new CEO.
Great. Well, hello. So good to see you. I'm going to ask Katie to mute the folks who aren't talking because it creates less feedback in the background. But please, if you want to be unmuted, raise your hands, use the reaction buttons because it's feedback. I come from a tradition of call and response. So it's really great to see what people are thinking and in the moment. So we love responses. So specifically, I am not the new CEO because I've started since March 16th. So in pandemic years, I'm like 10 years into the job. But in regards to many people who've been a part of Citizens Committee for our 45-year history, I'm just a blip in the arc of this great work. We were started in crisis. We're in a crisis now. Thank God for memories. We know that we can overcome crisis. So we've done it before, so we'll do it again. But we recognize that we do this together. And so it's super duper important. We open these neighborhood chats and create this as a Zoom meeting so that folks can see each other and that we can network and you can get to know me. Because I recognize that the relationships in this room far, far exceed my knowledge and longevity with this organization. And we really want to build on that and want you to be able to get to know me and continue to get to know the organization as we pivot for this moment. Getting to know me, side commercial, we just did a podcast. My wife and I did a podcast, Couples in Conversation, that I'll put in the chat and share. But if you want to get to know me really personally, a little bit vulnerable, that's a great way to listen to the way we're talking about where we live and how my family is getting through the pandemic and our hopes and dreams for New York City. Specifically, I want to make sure that you know that this is a Citizens Committee that you've known and love. We bring people together so that they can improve New York City. We recognize we want opportunity for all. What might be different a little bit is our messaging, because our messaging is trying to meet the moment. We recognize there's not one solution that fits all. There are different issues that really matter. And depending on where you are, is going to dictate which issues that you're bringing to the fore. So we're really trying to use tools to put them in the hands of our grantee partners so that they can be, leaders and catalysts for positive change in their communities. So we really want to amplify your voices, and we're using a lot of surveys to aggregate what the needs are and aggregate opinion and amplify it. So decision makers and stakeholders know that you're at the table. We are bringing grantee partners together in online forums like this, but when we can do it again in person, we'll also do it in person because we recognize that as you make relationships with one another, it just empowers and catalyzes the work and lifts up, different concerns that might be across the 5 boroughs in a way that's so much more powerful together. Obviously, most of you know us because of grant making, and yes, we recognize we want to make sure that we're getting money out into communities because money makes a difference, but we recognize that's not our only strength, but that is a big deal. And on the money front, I'm announcing we are definitely going to have another grant round that will begin opening in early 2021. And if you're worrying about our priorities and how we're doing the work, stay in conversation with us. We'll let you know. If you're in conversation with us, you will not miss the boat. You'll be there for when the opportunities are open, and we'll let you know how to get access to them. And beyond us, we want to let you know other resources to get money that are out there in the community. Thought leadership is the 4th pillar of our work that we're really looking forward to. The ideas that we hear from you, ideas making New York City more equitable, more accessible, more livable, to make sure New York City lives up to the lofty dreams and expectations that we have for the city and the lofty expectations that we have for America to like hold us accountable for, for the dream that this is supposed to be. And then lastly, partnerships. We want to make sure beyond the resources that we have internally, we want to connect our grantee partners up with other folks that can provide the resources that are needed, particularly now in this moment. We are borough agnostic, even though I'm wearing an I Love Harlem shirt. I love all the boroughs, but my family has been in Harlem for over 20 years. And so, that's the neighborhood that I love. But I love all of New York, and I love all the diversity that you guys are bringing to the table. A couple of announcements that we'll come back to. We are in the midst of the All In for NYC hashtag All In for NYC push. We want to show folks that there's a lot of positivity that's happening out there. Folks are making it happen in their community to make sure that that New York City is far from a ghost town, far from being dead, that there's things that are happening, and that we are the folks that are going to be here to make sure that New York City is thriving. We want to make sure that you're tagging that hashtag and tagging us as you're posting on social media so that we can see what you're doing and that we can lift it up. And part of this conversation is talking about some of the great things that people are doing. And you don't need to be incentivized to do the work that you're doing. But a nice little side thing is we're going to give at least one award, maybe 2 awards for folks that are doing great work. We'll select people who have tagged us, that they're showing what they're doing and how they're there for New York City. And we're going to announce that at our holiday recognition party. We might even call it Festivus for the rest of us on December 15th. So definitely want you to show up for that. That's December 15th at 5 p.m. In the meantime, make sure that your group and the folks that you know are tagging what you're doing, how you're showing up for NYC on social media, because we will definitely plug you. We will definitely like it. We will definitely retweet you or repost you on Instagram or Facebook or whatever LinkedIn that you're doing. So that was a mouthful, but the main thing is, get the money that you can, that we have available. Show people what you're doing, because if you show them, we'll amplify it to make sure a larger audience knows it. And make sure that you get to know us personally, because I think relationships win the day. Relationships will get us through, and that's why I'm so excited about you and your work, and I'm so excited about this job. And so, without taking any further time, I wanted to toss it back to Katie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rasan. Definitely really happy to be here. I'm Katie. I am on the programs team at Citizens Committee for New York City. And before we dive into more discussion, so you all don't have to continue to hear me and talking about our grant programs, but wanted to reiterate that Citizens Committee right now, we are slightly pivoting really to address COVID and really trying to support communities during this time. And so our current grant making priorities have pivoted a bit to invest in communities that were hardest hit by the pandemic, but are also focusing on priority areas in terms of education and police community relations. It doesn't mean that we're still not supporting and wanting to see applications from any type of work that groups are doing, because we recognize the creativity and intersections are really important and something we really value about our grantee partners and new volunteers, new community organizers, and long-term community organizers. But our grant making will look a little bit different this year. Something that also looks different, we will be launching our All-In Neighborhood Grant again early in 2021. And this is up to $10,000 for a project that you're doing. So a little bit more money that we're providing to groups in the coming years, coming months, which is really exciting. And this is to grassroots groups within the 5 boroughs in New York City that are carrying out projects that are meeting their neighborhood's urgent needs at this time. So again, applications will be available very soon. And then we also have a neighborhood business grant, which is very new for us. It's up to $10,000 to small businesses within the 5 boroughs of New York City. And we're really prioritizing businesses owned by people of color and immigrants and women-owned businesses. So really businesses that didn't have a lot of access to PPP early on in the pandemic. So that application is open now. We're accepting applications on a rolling basis, and we'll be making our next decision sometime in January or early February. So keep that in mind. And
Katie, I want to say that you and I just ran through a mouthful, so we're just going to take one pause to see if there are any questions. You can put it in the chat or raise your hand before we go to the next part.
Awesome. Yeah, I see Arnold. Go for
Hello.
it.
How y'all doing, team? My name is Arnold Porter. I'm a consultant. This pandemic has literally, I had one client left. Boom. So are consultants available? Because there's a lot of businesses in the neighborhood that could use this, but I cannot do it for nothing. And then some of them are, I'm not bilingual, and that's going to be a challenge, especially with one of my barbers, you know. So is that doable for me to do that as a consultant, to go out and help the local businesses?
So I want to answer more broadly. So, you know, all specific asks for money are all kind of, they're not specifically by themselves evaluated. We evaluate like batches of asks together. So, you know, all ideas are welcome, and depending on what our capacity is, and it's, you know, grant decisions are a portfolio of ideas that are supposed to spread the wealth, consider equity. Is not that people who apply aren't worthy. You know, it's literally a matter of many factors that decide like who gets funded in any one given moment. So I think number one, it always makes sense to apply no matter what, because it's raising your hand, it's sharing your story. Number two, even beyond our grant making process, one of the last neighborhood chats we had was about neighborhood businesses. And we talked to someone who used to be the commissioner of the city's small business agency. And then we also had the CEO of Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone. So why am I bringing that up? There are multiple partners that are doing support for neighborhood businesses, that if there's an idea for consultants to help, that there might be other funding sources that are beyond us that can help to get into that work. So
That's what I want to
say,
do in my neighborhood. So the grant that I would receive, I'm going to request is to go out to empower individuals that doesn't have the capacity or the knowledge to do that. But I'll put that in print.
yeah, no, exactly. So, you know, depending on, you know, we don't give out grants like haphazardly, and I say haphazardly, not necessarily to talk about organized, but like there are windows of when we cut checks and there are windows when we evaluate. And so, as you know, Katie was saying, right now we have an open application for neighborhood business. You know, fill that out if that is of interest. We're going to have another window of applications that opened up in early 2021. Just be on the lookout. And I said, be in conversation with us because it just all helps.
Yeah, and Arnold, those are some great questions as well. And what we can do at Citizens Committee is, if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to kind of talk through your project if you have specific questions. And in a little bit, we're going to have the opportunity for breakout rooms to share some ideas as well. So you'll have the opportunity to kind of discuss with some other folks. So happy to chat more.
So I should come to your breakout room?
I'll be
hello?
visiting different groups. I hear,
Oh, you'll be back
I hear an
I like
iPhone.
that. Our professors do that. They'll pop in, hello. Great.
Exactly. That'll be us. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Hello, this is Sonia for Kelly C. Block Association. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sonia. How are you?
I'm okay. You? I was just listening. You know, when they always say for small businesses and other areas in our community. My community is full of pets nowadays. Okay. I just wanted to know, was there any information y'all could share with me to help some of the people that are facing maybe getting rid of their pets because they can no longer afford to feed them? So I was just putting that out there if y'all know anything, okay?
Yeah, I'll answer this too, because I think, you know, the larger thing is every specific idea has merit and is making the case. And I go back to what I said before. We evaluate the portfolio of applications that we get across the boroughs to make sure that we spread opportunity, spread awareness. And so what I really want to make sure that we do, that Katie, and forums like this are ones that we can share ideas and sharpen them and make sure that people put their best applications forward. There's no guarantee or no silver bullet of how to get support, but what we can do is to help people become the best storytellers they can be, to make sure that folks have the best chance to network with other folks that have resources. And so that if it doesn't ultimately end up being a grant from us, that we at least have helped people increase their capacity to find, solutions. And I mean, there are ideas from helping people work with their mental health and doing yoga classes, to helping neighborhood businesses that are doing, consulting, distance learning, bicycle shops, barber shops. We have people that are doing do-it-yourself, like windowsill gardens. We have people that are doing, off the top of my head, food delivery and helping folks get, food in the midst of this pandemic and checking in on the elderly. And it's kind of like, are pets more important than the elderly, or is a mask more important than a small business? Like, it's not judging things off of their ideas in that way. It's much more about thinking about holistically how we can lift up all of these stories so that people can talk about them and hopefully get policies and support in a much larger way. Because we recognize our grants are micro grants and they're not going to solve everything, but hopefully by getting people who are organizers the encouragement and resources, that you can make a big difference. But Katie?
Yeah, and I think, you were sharing so many ideas of how people are taking action, and something that we're in the process of right now, as Rasan mentioned, is our kind of day/weeks of action. And I know there's some people in the room that actually led some volunteer days and days of actions on December 5th on Saturday, despite the rain, but are also continuing to take action. And so really wanted to talk, since we have so many community leaders in the room, maybe some people that are also looking to take action but aren't sure how to start. I also see some partners in the room as well. So wanted to bring up one group actually that shared in the chat. We have someone from a group called Together We Can that has been taking action. So I would love if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself and sharing the work that you've been doing. Nuala, I'd love to hear from you.
Sure. You caught me right when I was about to take a bite too.
So sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
So Together We Can is here in Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, and Corona, what we call the epicenter of the epicenter, the places that have really been hit hard. We have the zip codes that have had the highest mortality rates. Of the top 6 zip codes, 5 of them are here in my neighborhood, just a few blocks from Elmhurst Hospital. And we really struggled. So what we've worked at doing it Together We Can initially was to help and feed people. But now that kind of food pantries are up and we've got delivery systems ready, we have pantry work on Wednesday and on Sundays, our next focus is on really trying to use this pandemic as a positive, to build positive things coming out of this and really build community. Whether we like it or not, a lot of our neighbors now have free time because they're not working, and to use this time so they can get to know each other and work on projects together. So with funding from Citizens Committee, we had our 5th annual Santa bike ride along 34th Avenue this Sunday, which was a huge success. Nothing like Santa to cheer people up. We've put up a 15-foot tall Christmas tree on our open street on 34th Avenue. We've got all sorts of events happening, all outdoor in the fresh air, so people can socially distance in an open space, but they can still see their friends and neighbors. So we're really excited. This Saturday night, at the same time that one of our local churches does a procession for Dia de la Guadalupe, we have a bunch of neighbors making ponche, which is kind of this warm fruit drink, and pozole, which is a Mexican traditional soup for this time of year. And we're going to be handing it out to people on 34th Avenue. The next Saturday, we have St. Nick coming to our Christmas tree to meet people and hand out lollipops. So we're trying to just give people really fun, positive ways to be outdoors, short periods because it is cold out, and to see their neighbors and really enjoy themselves. In the past, we've been doing exercise classes, whether it be Zumba or yoga or family bike rides. Our next thing are being a whole series of walks, and we can't wait to announce the first 34th Avenue snowball fight. So we're excited about bringing our neighbors together so that we can use this kind of challenging time as a way to build community.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think kind of the core of it is really bringing community together in a positive way. I think right now, though, bringing community together during a pandemic, what does that look like to you? What does that look like for your group? How do you do that safely? I know probably a lot of other people in the room are grappling with that too.
So we invested in hand warmers. So everything we do is outside. And so it means a lot of rain dates, because if it's rainy, you really can't do outside. Santa was a very cold, brisk morning, but we serve a lot of hot chocolate. We hand out hand warmers, and we try to make it so that all the events aren't more than 45 minutes. So basically, no matter how cold it is, you can come out for 45 minutes. We try to keep people moving, whether it's riding a bike or walking, or we have a salsa class that keeps you warm. But it lets people get out of their four walls, get some fresh air, see some neighbors, and feel like they're part of something, not just watching on a screen. And I think that is so important, especially for our kids, even if it's only for 10 or 20 minutes before your hands freeze. So it's a different way of thinking of things, and you have to be really flexible because because everything's outdoors, you're at the mercy of the weather. But it's really the safe way to do things. So I know it's December, and people said, oh, but you're not going to do this in the wintertime. I'm like, oh yeah, we are. We're still outdoors. We're still in an open space so that we can see our neighbors in a safe way. And it's been working.
Oh, that's awesome. And I definitely see some appreciation in the chat with the snowball fights. So yeah.
Yeah, and Katie, so I want to say one thing too, because I'd be remiss not to mention the virus spreads by sharing air in enclosed spaces. And we're so close with the vaccines being approved and getting past it. And I like the mindfulness of being outside and creating some kind of connections where we can, but then also providing hope, because if we get over the hump and just get through to the springtime, I think there are going to be a lot of other opportunities with more vaccinations and being able to be outside again. So braving the cold, but then also spreading messages of hope and hand sanitizers and hand warmers and masks and all those things are just so important. So thank you for that story.
So for a long time, we all said, oh, we wish we had money for a community space and an indoor space. And finally, not having indoor space is not hurting us.
Yeah, and it's also hard too. I see some people in the chat saying, they do have that specific space and it's hard to do work outside. So I would love to hear, I'm going to ask you to unmute if you wouldn't mind sharing the NYC LGBTQ, and sorry your name gets cut off, but if you could just share some of the work that you're doing, and also maybe we can offer some ideas of ways to do things that aren't necessarily outdoors. So I'll ask you to unmute. Yeah, perfect.
Hi everybody. God bless. I'm Reverend Carmen. I'm a public figure here on the Soundview section, the Bronx. I want to say thank you for having us. I carry a lot of hats. As you see behind me, I'm representing 1471-73 Watson Avenue Resident Council. We are NYCHA Development. It's the first time that we cooperated, so it's the first in history because our building was silenced, which NYCHA was taking advantage of our tenants. And thanks to you guys, we won the Love Your Block when we paint all the fence all around our development, and it looked real nice to make it, give people hope. When you give tenants hope and they lose hope, I thank God that because of my advocacy, I was just right now named from New York Bronx Time, the powerhouse woman of the Bronx. So I'm honored because of all, I'm also the president founder of the NYC LGBTQS Chamber of Commerce. If it wasn't for our chamber, NYCHA hasn't done nothing to help us out, because I love the way the young lady spoke about how they could do all those things, but unfortunately where I live is only 2 development, 96 unit, and we have a little uh, playground. But it's very hard for us too because we are seniors and people with disability, because I'm a person with disability. So what I did with the chamber, we got them mask, we got them sanitizer, through the connection with the New York City Health Department. I was able to get air condition for my seniors because they never got it. So we made sure that every senior here got an air condition, which we were very proud of the work. And they got their iPad as well, so the seniors can connect with their families as well. These are the great stuff that we have done for those indoors that cannot come out. Right now, I worked so hard to even get a COVID test. So we're gonna have a van next week stand in front of us so I could take the test and everyone could take it, because it's very hard for those that cannot come out, especially those vulnerable, which is NYCHA. And it bothers me when, where our leaders get on TV and talk about us, but when it comes to action, nothing is being done. So this is the job that I've been doing, taking, the lead to find solution, because we could complain all we want, but thank God with the chamber, I was able to mobilize and get the connection that I have so I can help my seniors here in this development. So I'm here to listen. I'm listening, to see how can we continue the relationship and get all the funds that we could get. So we could, right now we're planning to get emergency kit, because as you know, let's be realistic, hard days are coming. We're gonna have another lockdown. Is 3 reasons. 1, the COVID and the double of the flu. 2, this 45 president is causing war, and we need to stay still in our apartment and let the officials, police and whatever handle, and stay off the street as much as possible. Number 3, we're gonna have bad days weather. It's coming. New York think that's only Florida, it's only California and other places, but we're gonna get it here. They was already in New Jersey from here, because I'm right 5 minutes away from Cross Bronx, the New Jersey, highway to New Jersey, and they were hearing, hurricane, earthquake. So it's coming. So we are right now very vulnerable. So we right now working with the governor to get us emergency kit so I could supply that. It's just finding preparation as well. How can we prepare and be safe for those that cannot take fresh air? I'm the one that checking on them, knocking at their doors. It's like I'm running a senior, citizen, home care. But, I have to do it, because I care about my tenants. So this is where we at right now. Thank you for
Katie, I just want to say thank you so much for that work. Letting you to get to know me a little bit. One of my previous jobs, I worked at this grant making foundation called the Atlantic Philanthropies, and 2 of the programs that they had, one was for children and youth, and a lot of people have those programs, but another one was about aging and older adults. And you get very vulnerable when you're super young, and you're really vulnerable on the other end of it when you're older. And so thank you for your work of making sure that older adults were seen, and also people with disabilities, because folks who can't get out, having access to resources and having people check in on them makes all the difference. So I just want to applaud your work. And there are other policy issues that you were talking about in general, and that's a thing that we want to lift up. What are the internet connections and access to resources in public housing? Are folks connected? Or for folks who might not necessarily be in public housing but are in other owned buildings, when they had the rent moratorium and eviction moratorium, where do people go next? Like, who do you talk to get information? And those are all things that are not necessarily outdoor enterprises. They're indoor enterprises. They're sharing of information or sharing of resources that are so critical for community. And that's another action that is not necessarily going out with a broom or throwing snowballs, which are super duper fun, but are critically important for New York City to get better and to make sure that no one's forgotten. So just wanted to say thank you before I kicked it back off to Katie.
Excuse me, I just want to chime in. Could you please,
sure, go ahead.
I sent you a private message, housing. I sent you a private message. Please take down my email address so I'll be able to assist you with something. Thank you. It's
Thank you.
important.
Awesome. And
Looking
that's
at
a,
my board, getting approval for some money for senior citizens. What we're literally going to do is stamps and senior Metro cards, either or. Give them 5 or 10 stamps and a double Metro card. Just something. Well, we thinking about you.
well, that's awesome. And I think once we get into breakout rooms too, I'm going to definitely encourage everybody to share contact information, because this is hopefully just the starting point of how we can collaborate, really thinking of how we can continue to strengthen New York City, continue to make it a very resilient city, because we're very resilient. And I think just like even the 2 people that spoke about the work that they're doing, it's very different, but it's all really important in improving quality of life and really strengthening relationships, and making sure that you're advocating for your neighbors. So Citizens Committee, we definitely want to be a resource to be able to support you through that. So I'm going to start breakout rooms. I'm going to put some questions in the chat that I'd love for you all to consider. Really just sharing your name, your neighborhood, and the work that you're doing, but also talking about how maybe your organizing has changed during the pandemic, and how you can provide suggestions on what organizing might look like during this time, because we are all pivoting. And also brainstorming ideas of how you'll take action after this meeting. Recognizing it's winter, recognizing that, we're all under a lot of stress and hardship, but there's also a lot of beauty and kind of community that is being built through this. So thinking of how you can maybe take those small actions or larger actions after this meeting. And then also sharing your contact information if you're comfortable. Of course, no pressure, but if you want to connect with people after this, we definitely encourage you to continue that discussion. Let us know if you're continuing that discussion as well. We'd love to hear from you. So before I do breakout rooms, does anyone have any questions? Just pop it in the chat. We'll also be kind of going into your different rooms and answering questions.
And also, I just wanted to make one last announcement. If anyone has to drop off, this is the main group session that we've done of sharing information, summarizing. The day of action is really weeks of action, all in the number 4 NYC is the hashtag. And be ready for the December 15th party that we're going to have. It's a celebration. Make sure that you know that you can always reach out to Citizens Committee staff. We won't necessarily always have the answer that you want, but we'll always have opportunities and get you in community in a way that hopefully whatever you're doing, continue to grow, and that you can find like-minded people that are doing the work too. We just are really thankful that you're taking the time to spend with us. And I know ultimately folks are like, I want grants. So like, when are we going to get the grants? All of these conversations are really helping to make sure that you can tell your story the best way possible. Because the more you can tell your story, the easier it is to articulate what you're doing. And it's easier for folks to know that they want to support it when they have the opportunity. So this is about sharing our stories so that we can all be stronger. So thank you for this part. Katie, you're going to be in the breakout rooms and we'll get to know each other even more. But this is the magic of the work, and just thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rasan. So just so you all know, you'll get a notification to join a breakout room, and then you'll be in there for about 20 minutes. I'll have you all come back around 5:55 and we'll wrap up and just go through some last minute items. But again, really excited to have you all be able to connect and share information. All right. Thank you for your patience as I am working out this tech. All right, creating these rooms. So you should see an invite and then just go ahead and click. Amazing. Awesome. So I see some folks still in the room. Feel free to talk with one another. I'm also going to go ahead and jump into some other rooms as well.
Here. Hi, Katie.
Say hi.
Hi. I'm just introducing myself and starting to talk about a little bit about Broadway housing communities. So my name is Meldis Jimenez. I'm a community organizer. We're based in Uptown Manhattan in West Harlem, Washington Heights area. BHC has 5 different properties and we have tenants, but we also provide programming and services to the community at large. So Broadway Housing Community focuses on not just housing, but also education and the arts. We have 2 preschools, so early childhood preschools, state of the art for children and families that are also, you know, very low income. And there are, in our immediate area, we have also schools and families that have also that either live in a shelter. For example, at Sugar Hill, which is located on 155th Street in St. Nicholas, we have like about 5 different family shelters in, I want to say, like a 2-block radius all around us. And understanding that even the school across the street from us, which we do partner and also programming for, has a very high population of children and family who are currently living in a shelter. Here at Broward, I'm within the tenant services department. And again, we focus on programming, not just for our tenants, but also the community.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. Oh, she popped in.
Hey, just wanted to say hi. Keep going. Pretend I'm not here. Just wanted to see if you had any questions.
Hi, Katie. Okay.
We're just getting started.
Once again, my name is Arnold Porter. I'm the one who said that I want to apply for a grant to do some paperwork to help some businesses in the area. I'm gonna have to give a stipend to somebody that's bilingual to translate one of my classmates. So far, the 2 that's on my board of directors, they say they're not that good at translating, but then I could probably just use Google Translate too. Isn't there an app for that I can put on my iPhone? A translation app? I'll find
I
out.
don't know. It might be good to have someone who could translate in real time, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes an app can only get you so far.
Yeah, especially
or one of the problems is if you do type written stuff, what you should do is you can Google Translate it, but then you should have someone read it over just to make sure it actually says what you want it to say.
I know. But most things now, most cell phones have speech to text on it. You know, it'll all work out.
there are some
I'll make an
city
appointment with them.
agencies too
And
that
it's up
can
to them
support.
to get the translator. That's the best way to handle that.
Yeah, I think translators are your best bet, especially with grant applications. We have some folks on the team that speak Mandarin and Spanish, so they're able to translate some of the applications, but for other languages, we don't have that capability. So yeah.
I'm submitting everything in English.
Oh, and that's helpful for us as well, but we can translate Spanish and Mandarin if you need that.
No, because I'm going to fill it out. Because with your thing, you got to go through the screen. I'm not going to let them know where it's coming from. No, not yet. It's like, I want to speak to them. They're going to tell me, and I'm going to put it into the thing for now. Because I've seen it, but I was busy. So I don't even know how to do that. But I want to do my thing for there. And I can do some things to get it started, but I'm not going to be able to do it on a level I want to do it because of COVID, I lost my job. I'm on unemployment. You know, well, I got one client hanging on. It's December, so she'll probably do something before the end of the year.
I'm sorry, Arnold, that's really tough.
It'll all work out.
I hope so.
Everybody knows what's going on, but I did send a private message to the lady from the senior thing because I just submitted to my board. I wanted to get some stamps and Metro cards for senior citizens. We're going to like 5 stamps. That's enough for a month. You know, spread it wide, spread it thin. Depends on how much they approve me for.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks for sharing, Arnold.
Yeah, because my mother, she told me 10 stamps lasted her 6 weeks. So I just sent her a book of 20. So a lot of things I do for seniors, I get to go ahead. I mean, the things, the insight from my mother, who will be 80 next month, and she looks fabulous. She has all her, she's black, and has her own real hair. It's thinning, but it's full.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so sorry. I'm going to hop off and join another room that needs help. But keep it up, keep sharing, and I'll talk to you all soon.
Great.
Thanks, Katie.
Hello.
Okay.
That at a point they threatened me and they broke into my community room, and now housing police found out that it's an inside job. But I told them I'm not the one. I'm not the one to be silent. I was raised in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, where I was there when they burned the houses, when developers was trying to destroy for greed. I lived all that. For us, it was normal because when you live, you know, in your community, it's normal for you. You just try to survive and make the best of it. So God knew what he was building in me with my village. I was that child that, you know, I mean, my best friend's like, write a book, because I call it, there is hope in a mixed up world. When you have faith and you trust God and he gives you that, you know, once you know where your pulpit is, where's your ministry? My ministry is Soundview. I'm a youth community pastor, not from the church, but I was ordained what I do in the street for the young people. And back then, when I started on Stratford, that's where I used to live. I used to work with all those street kids, get them off the street while their parents were working. I took them away in places. Right now, a lot of them graduated, they're men and women. Last year, my family day, they surprised me, some of them, and I broke down and cried to hear that your work was not in vain, that sometimes we don't get paid for this, but when God gives you that calling and, you know, and he gives you a confirmation, look what you did, you know, it makes all the difference in the world. Yes. And I think this COVID has really, it has to humble us in a deep way that we cannot forget about humanity. Because look at the businesses. I run a chamber. A lot of my businesses lost. I lost my godfather, Joe Torres from Joe's Place. I found out now that it's closed. It's now a Jamaican restaurant, whatever. And it breaks me because Joe is history. Joe was the center of us Latino Puerto Ricans here in our area. So it's sad. We are going through a lot. You're absolutely right. But how can we find hope in the midst of all this? And I learned through my mentor, and we could complain all we want, but we need to find solution. And that's what I'm here to see. How can we work together, all of us, and put out, you're my neighbor, Fulham Road. So we know what's going down here in the Bronx. So it's hard because Bronx is always the one that they like to belittle and put us down, but we're the most richest culture, you know, and genders of our community. And we fight hard. Bronx people fight hard. And I think no borough in the world could, you know, fight as we fight. So it's not easy, of course. And, you know, we here, you know, I'm just listening to God and use all the resources I can to bring the help that my seniors and my young people, because we do our 3 Kings and we're still going to do it. So I'm getting community leaders to dress up as 3 Kings because we brought the outfit and collect toys for them. You know, I would like to get toys like education to keep their minds busy and you know, while they're locked at home, because they are the most vulnerable and we need to protect our family, which is our community. So they're my family. So I thank you guys. Only my actions speak louder. If you Google my name, you see everybody from reporters, camera crews, they would tell you Carmen not only speaks for LGBT community, but she speaks for all. And that means a lot to me, because if they think like that, the media of me, wow, you know, I done my job. And I'm glad that my actions speak louder than many words I could say. So it's all finding solution and work together and the connection and build relationship. That's what I teach my chamber members. Build relationship, let them know you're legit. Build that relationship with others, because you never know who you could meet, who you're gonna need and want. So I thank you, Citizen New York, for doing a great job and really connecting with us and to hear what we have to say. So it means a lot to me, because you're not only helping me, you're helping those behind me that I lead, that God calls me to lead. So it has not, you're right, it hasn't been easy when you trust in your politician. They're not giving the people the information that they need. And we're the ones that are doing the job without getting paid. We're doing their job. That's why I get on their butt. And that's why they respect me, because I'm not getting paid for your job. So do it, or we're gonna do it for you. We'll find way or another, but I'm a conscience to the politicians, so that's good.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I just wanted to pop in and say hi. Just wanted to let you know we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes. So just making sure that everybody, if you haven't been able to share the work you're doing and which borough you're in, make sure you're able to do that. But I'm going to hop into another room, but keep it up. Good to see everybody.
My name is Bravo. Thank you for.
No, we do not. It's all run by the co-op. We have a co-op board. And as I say, they have come up with a program to check on vulnerable seniors. In fact, I have a neighbor that is vulnerable, and I knocked on his door one day, and he keeps his door open all the time. And he's in his 90s, but a wonderful guy, and he's been through a heck of a lot before coronavirus, and now coronavirus just complicates it again. And he wanted to know, why was I there? he felt I was checking on him because the board does that. So it creates a lot of questions, but as long as you're able to answer them in a polite manner, it works.
Well, sorry to pop in. I don't want to interrupt anything. You guys are having some great discussion. Just wanted to say hi. Also wanted to let you know you have a few more minutes. So just make sure if people haven't been able to speak, that you're able to do so. And also feel free to share your contact information as well. So keep it up.
Thank you, Katie.
What do we do to get, what do we go into the chat room to find out the questions that you wanted us to cover? Because we're just introducing ourselves.
Oh, perfect.
Okay,
Introductions are great. Yeah, that's really at the heart of, yeah. Also thinking about how during the time of the pandemic, how maybe your organizing or how you engage your community looks different. So that's also in the chat. So that's the main thing. And then also brainstorming ideas for actions and activities that you're going to continue to do after this meeting. So maybe you learn different ways you can engage community members. It sounded like you were checking on your neighbors. So that's a great way to take action. So just kind of brainstorming with your room and the people in your room. Awesome. Well, I'll talk to you all very soon.
Okay, thank you, Katie.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So,
Katie?
Oh,
Hi.
hi.
Just wanted to pop in and say hello, give just a couple-minute warning. How's it going?
Going good. Learned a lot about Willie and his work.
Nice. That's amazing. Well, I just wanted to say if people haven't been able to share their work yet or what they do, make sure, is it just Willie in the room? Is it two Willies?
So we have Will, and they just sent me a private message saying that they're having issues with their audio.
Oh no.
Yeah, so fortunately we haven't been able to hear from that person.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome to type in the chat and we'll read it if you want to do that. Or I don't know if you as the host can maybe, I don't know, refresh. Not sure.
Yeah, technical difficulties always happen at the most inopportune time, but chat is always a great option for backup.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going back in now?
in a few more minutes, so keep up the discussion, pretend I'm not here, happy to answer questions, but you have a colleague of mine in here, Carla Naomi, so you're in good hands. So I might pop into another room.
All right.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yeah, there was some news that came on the television. Supreme Court refused to hear.
You can go on the website. It's Invisible Hands. I think it's called Invisible Hands Deliver.
Okay.
And they would put you in the channels that are in Staten Island that are close to you.
Okay.
Okay, it's Invisible Hand because some of our most of our volunteers, you know, during the garden season, we just had completed. So I would pass on this information because they always like to volunteer all year round.
Great. Yeah, anyone who's healthy or able-bodied is encouraged to help others who are, you know, quarantining or isolating for different reasons.
Right.
Okay.
No, I'm just thinking even from the DOE perspective, a lot of our high school students, you know, need work and things like that. So to mention that to some of our schools, whether it's something they could act on now or just even in the future to support a group like that.
Yeah, that would be great. And I just checked, it's invisiblehandsdeliver.org.
Okay.
It's
We have
Invisible Hand Deliver. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck. Happy holidays.
You too.
You too. Bye.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. That was a very short 20 minutes, I have to say.
But it was powerful.
What?
There's a lot of great discussion happening. I know we could definitely talk about this longer. So something that we're continuing to do at Citizens Committee is hosting these types of platforms so you can keep engaging with one another. Definitely stay in touch with us so we can connect you all. If there was a person that you met and you're like, they were doing this work or this is their name, I don't remember, we have everybody's RSVP information. So we'd reach out to them, make sure it's okay to connect you all. So just so you know, but if you haven't been able to connect with someone and you wanted to, you can definitely connect with them in the chat, or you can share your contact information with everybody in the chat as well. So I know everybody's time is really valuable, so I just wanted to share some closing remarks in terms of we really appreciate everybody taking their time to spend with us, share the work that they're doing. So thank you. A reminder that because you're doing all this amazing work, if you're sharing it on social media, tag us and use the hashtag AllInForNYC. We're going to randomly pull someone from that and you will win $500 for your community group. So please do that before December 15th. We'll be announcing the winner December 15th in our end of the year celebration at 5 p.m. So we'll share all of that information with you. But Rasan, is there anything else?
Once again, once again, what was it? Hashtag all in.
Yes, so I'm going to put it in the chat.
It's in the chat. It's all ALLIN, the number 4 NYC. And if you can't remember it, go to our website. If you can't remember it, go to our Instagram. If you can't remember it, go to our Facebook. It's all over the place. All in for NYC.
So what kind of content? What kind of content are you looking for us to tag with that hashtag?
So just really quickly, again, anything that you're doing to show that New York City's not a ghost town, that you're showing up, that you're helping folks. If you're doing like a petition in your housing complex, if you're cleaning the street, if you're handing out masks, if you're giving someone food, if you're helping an old man cross the street, tag it. Photos, shout out your groups, shout out your neighborhood, let people know that so much positivity is going out there, because there are forces out there that are trying to say, oh, this is so dangerous, they ain't doing nothing, there's nothing good, and it's all lies. So we're just going to show them in aggregate. It's as simple as that.
Okay, great.
So we're
I just
really
want to say
excited.
thank you. You guys are wonderful. This is not a goodbye. This is see you later. This is a relationship. that's ongoing. You know how to reach us. Ping us on social media, email us, and we're here. But thank you for all that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks you all. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'll stay on a little bit longer, just if anyone has any quick questions, happy to chat. But I will share my contact information again. It is kgracely@citizensnyc.org. Feel free to email me with questions. But yeah, social media and our website has all of this great information too.
Okay.
Thanks you all.
Thank you. All right. Happy holidays to all.
Yes, you too.
Y'all have canopies available?
Same to you.
God bless.
Oh, is y'all resources still available, canopies?
Oh, that's a great question, Arnold. So right now with COVID, we don't have our resource library open, but there is another group. It's a mutual aid group that does have a resource library that is sharing. So let me see if I can pull that up and share with you.
That's great, because I think I'm gonna do something with my neighbors. I like that snowball fight. They can all
Yeah,
drunk and throw snowballs at each other.
I know. It's a great, yeah, it makes me, it makes me want it to snow so I can go out there and do that. I heard it was, yeah, and also the rain on Saturday made it a bit difficult, but so Arnold, I found it. I'm going to put it in the chat. It's called Mutual Aid NYC/resources groups. So that is basically a loan library that exists in New York City now that is up and running.
Great. Very powerful meeting. I'm glad I came in.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah. We also received that last thing. We got so much work since COVID. It's pathetic. I'm going to submit my final report to get it off my plate. Because
Oh
I'm a
yeah,
full-time college
no
student. I'm
rush.
working my last final, so I want to get that off my plate. Boom. I know it's not due for another thing, but I'm going to send it in.
Awesome, thank you. And I see it. Sorry, how do you pronounce your name?
Katiuska,
Katiuska. Awesome. Hi.
how can I get in touch with Miss Tenen?
I am here.
Oh.
I need her number, and we haven't been able to.
I will write it down, 646-321. You want it? You okay?
Yeah, let me get it, because I know that we almost leaving the chat.
Yeah, break room.
Say it, 346.
No, 646. 321 8000.
321 8000.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Tenen.
Awesome.
And thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Enjoy your night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You said to for the $500 to, I didn't get it. I came a little bit late. Can you set up
No
more one?
worries. Yeah, of course. So right now we have a social media contest, basically within the line of days of action. So we want to see, what are you doing to support your community? So if you have a photo of the work that you're doing, if you put it on Instagram and you tag us, it's at CitizensNYC. Carla, I don't know if that's right. I'm blanking off the top of my head, but you can tag us and then use the hashtag AllIn4NYC. And then you'll be entering into a contest where we'll randomly draw a name or a group and give $500 for that group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's also on our website. So if you, you can go to citizensnyc.org and you can read more about that social media contest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Carla. I see you're putting that in the chat too. Appreciate that.
Bye.
All right. Well, have a great night. Hopefully we see you at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Bye, you all.
Bye.